Juliet looks up to greet me, a gentle smile written on her face. God, she's adorable. Ah, shit, why the fuck is the desktop audio muted? It's embarrassing. Sorry if you haven't been able to hear the voices. I trust you can read. It's only been 5 minutes, so we're good. We're good, Jen. She remembered me. I had my relief well, I think.
I sure did. I think that might have been the best sleep I ever had.
I'm most glad to hear it. Would you like to sit down?
Oh, sure. Thanks.
Oh, I love her. There's only one other seat, so I awkwardly sit down across from her. It was a little bit like an interrogation.
Would you like some tea?
I never had tea, so I don't know if I like it or not. I feel like I should accept her offer of politeness, though.
Sure.
Juliet pulls out a teacup from the shelf nearby and sets it on a little plate, and she carefully pours in the tea without spilling a single drop. She pushes the plate up. She pushes the plate with the cup over to me.
Sugar?
I've had enough human snacks to know I like sugar.
Yes, please.
Takes the lid off a small pot and offers it to me. It's full of little white cubes. Without hesitating, I take two and toss them in my mouth. They're kind of crunchy at first, but quickly fall apart. Juliet frowns just a little, enough that a human probably wouldn't notice. Did I do something wrong? Wait, I know.
Oh, thank you.
I guess her to smile, so I'm pretty sure I did the right thing. She sets the pot of treats back down on the desk.
We'll have breakfast in a little while. Aspen usually comes by to help open the library, and then we eat together.
Oh my god, they're besties!
That sounds nice. Does she help out because of the sunlight?
My, that's astute of you. You're correct. Although I'm able to tolerate a bit of sun, I do prefer the dark. I wasn't sure if you knew I was a vampire or not.
I mean, to be fair, I'm not sure she figured that one out.
I figured it out just now. That explains how you were able to hear me and find my den, huh?
Indeed. That said, I have my dear friend Orpheus to thank for helping me know where to find you.
It was the bat. Sound scratches in the corner of the room, and I look up to notice a large bat dangling from my hook on one of the shelves. Has that been there this entire time?
Is he also...
No, Orpheus is a bat through and through, not a vampire. He happened to notice you on his way home one day.
So that's the friend you were talking about. I was wondering about that.
I have the pleasure of knowing several of Wellington's local bats. They keep me apprised of news from around the city.
You're not, like... you know...
Is that one of my front teeth? Not sure to ask the question politely.
Oh, heavens no! I consume as little blood as one of my kind can, and what I do partake of is freely donated. I love this city, and its people. I'd never had them like that.
God's sake.
Besides, I had quite enough of that during my time in the underworld. Is that where you come from as well?
Oh, I'm not from the underworld. I'm from Korea.
Oh shit, lore.
I've heard lots about it, though. I'm one of the only fabled I know of who doesn't come from there. For a long time, I didn't even know that other fabled existed.
Oh shit, even more lore. We're getting a whole lore dump. Let's go.
Indeed. Gumio like yourself are some of the few I know of.
Wait, Gumiho? Is that what I'm called? That explains a lot.
Hold on, I'm frantic googling. See if the game just made that up. Okay, Kumio is a creature that appears in folk tales of East Asia and legends of Korea. Korean and Kumiho share many similarities to Chinese, blah 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 blah. Can fully transform, among other things, into a beautiful woman. Also set out to seduce boys and grandma or similar. Lovely. Some of the most famous depictions of Kumiho is a supernatural fox. They change itself into a beautiful woman that longs to live as a human for good. The means to reach this goal varies throughout the lore. Well, shit, I guess we learned something new.
You didn't know, but you go by the name Miho.
Just because I like the sound, I thought it was more like a nickname. I change it up wherever I go. Gumi, Homie, Migu. I've never had a real name. I didn't even know I had a kind. I've never met someone else like me. I wonder if we'd have much in common.
Oh, she's so adorable. I love her. Have other foxes so Gumiho live the same kind of life I have? Maybe they're better at finding people than I am, and that's why I've never seen. One.
Are there any other Gumio in Wellington?
None that I know of. It's possible, though.
I'm not sure what I'd say if I did meet one.
I'd wondered about others like me before, and since I've never met one, I assume they don't exist. Finding out that they do, and there's even a name for us, comes as a pretty big surprise. No matter how long I've been alive, there's still so much that I don't know about the world. Our discussion tapers off, and the sound of the front door reaches my ears from downstairs. Juliet must have heard it too, looking over his Ida.
Oh, that'll be Aspen. Shall we go down to breakfast?
Just a second.
I'll never say no to that.
Juliet takes to her feet, picking up the lamp and carrying it with her. Orpheus the bat leaves the study with Nita, though he flies off in a different direction. I guess he won't be joining us for the meal. I have to be careful not to spill my cup of tea as we walk down the stairs. Aspen waits at the bottom, a large book tucked under her arm. She waves with her free hand to greet us.
Good morning, Aspen. It's nice to see you again.
Oh my god, Juliet's got a little cane. I love it.
Good morning, Juliet. And you too, Miho. I must admit, I was a little worried you might run off during the night.
I may have thought about it a little.
Aww.
After I went to bed, though, I was out like a light.
Glad you decided otherwise, then. Living in the library sounds like heaven. I can't believe you'd think about giving that up.
Aww.
Anyway, I'm opening today, so I can't stay too late. I'll go ahead and take care of the windows.
I'll get started on breakfast then. Would you like grape or strawberry jam?
I think I'm feeling like strawberry today. Oh, or some of that orange marmalade, if there's any left.
God, they're so cute.
You have to let Miho try that too.
I'll see if we have it. Is that a nonce you have with you? You can just leave him on the desk for now.
It sure is. I'll be taking Jacques on the way out.
I'll write it down.
The two of them stroll off in different directions while I stand on the stairs, unable to follow any of the conversation.
Who's Jax? Anonce? I don't see anyone with you.
This is a nonce.
She taps the cover of the book she brought with her.
He's the author of this. Juliet suggested I read some of his work, but I'm finding him rather dull.
Huh.
Try my best to sound interested, but I doubt it's successful. Maybe I'd see the appeal if I could read them, or how can I be better than doing things like how can they be better than doing things yourself? I assign the book down on the front desk. Aspen goes into the main room, leaving me alone in the hallway. I make my way down the rest of the steps. Looking down at my teacup, I decided to take a tiny sip. I'm getting tired of carrying it around. Yuck. It's kind of better, but also bland at the same time. Frowning, I set the cup down on one of the shelves nearby. At least I tried it. The sugar was way better though. The door Aspen went through is still open, and I can hear her bustling around. The room where Juliet went isn't far away either. I can already smell food. I guess I'll go watch. Oh shit, oh come on, you're gonna make me choose already. Fuck. Fuck. Oh, no one's in chat to help me either. So I went back to the wrong stream mode. There we go. It's better. I'm over here now. I had to get rid of use that muscle memory. Oh, but fuck. Do I choose? Oh, they're both so cute. I think I'll go for Juliet right now. I follow my nose and head to the kitchen. It's a big frying pan on the stove with a ball of melting butter sizzling on it. Juliet gives the pan a push to move it around before walking to the counter to continue her work.
That smells great!
Oh, Miho, go ahead and take a seat if you'd like. This shouldn't take long.
I do what she suggested and sit down at the dinner table, in the same spot as yesterday. Lovely smells swirl around the room as she opens this jar and that.
What you making?
Fried eggs and toast with some fresh fruit. It's what we usually have. Is that all right with you?
Better than alright. I'm almost drooling just thinking about it.
Aww. I watch as she quickly butters a few pieces of bread, then tosses them into the pan or on the stove. While it cooks, she takes an apple from a nearby bowl of fruit and cuts out the core before swiftly chopping it into perfectly even pieces.
Sure did that fast.
Practice makes perfect, as they say, and I've had quite a lot of practice.
After moving the apple slices onto a plate, she takes an orange and starts to do the same thing.
The bats enjoy fruit as well, so I tend to keep a lot of it around the house. If there are any items you'd like me to keep around the house for you, do let me know.
Something tells me that snacks in the convenience store aren't where she had in mind.
I'll tell you if I think of anything.
Juliet finishes the fruit before dropping the eggs into the pan with butter. It already starts to sizzle too. Finally, she slices the toast out and onto a plate. Right as the eggs finish cooking, and Juliet sets the table for the three of us, Aspen daintily steps into the room,
All set on my end.
which is adorable.
Thank you. I just finished cooking too.
We all sit down and dig in. The food, of course, is delicious.
So, Miho, how will you be spending your first day as an official Wellington resident?
I don't know yet. Hadn't really thought about it. Now that you mention it, I'll have a lot more free time now, huh? Usually I'd go hunting for food, or looking for a better place to stay, or...
Instinctively, I go silent as I reach for my pocket and the familiar crumpling paper.
Or...
If it's something you don't want to share, don't feel that you must.
Right, that too.
I hesitate. I'm not sure that I've ever told anyone about my goal, or at least not the specifics. I've had a lot of first times lately though. What's one more? Besides, maybe the two of them can help.
No, it's okay. I've been looking for someone.
Wipe my hands first, making sure they don't have any crumbs or grease on them, and I carefully slide the thin scroll from my pocket. I always kept it in the deepest part, where it won't get wet or damaged. With great care, I gently unroll it, letting the two women see the ink markings brushed onto the scroll. The edges are fuzzy with age, by now, but the text is illegible, I think.
They gave me this a long time ago. I don't know what it says.
Is that Korean? Maybe Chinese? I'm not able to read either one, unfortunately.
They remind me of older Chinese characters, but I can't be certain myself. Sorry, but I'm not too familiar with them either.
Yeah, Miho, could you not have, like, asked someone in Korea when you were there? They look a little defeated, but I quickly wave off their concern.
It's okay. Nobody I've asked could read it either. For all I know, they might just be scribbles. I thought that maybe if I knew what it said, it would help me find them.
Who exactly are they, if I may ask?
They're a traveler. I learned that word just to be able to describe them. They were the first human I ever met, and they told me stories about the rest of the world.
And you've been searching for them ever since then?
Yup. For as long as I can remember. I met them back in Korea, when I was a fox. I couldn't understand what they were saying, not until much later.
Reminiscing about them gives me a very particular feeling. It's warm and fuzzy, but also a little sad. I think people call it nostalgia. My voice is a little quieter as I finish what I meant to say.
But that never stopped them from coming to see me. I don't know their name or even where they're from, but I'll definitely recognize them when I see them again.
Both of the women before me go quiet for a moment, visibly thinking over what I've said. After a long wail, it's Juliet who speaks first.
In that case, I'd be happy to assist in any way I can.
Me too, of course. Speaking of which, I may have found something useful to you. I was doing a little bit of research on Gumiho last night. There was surprisingly little to be found compared to some of the other fabled.
Wait a sec. You found out that I'm a Gumio too?
Well, yes. It wasn't too difficult to look up. Is that odd?
So in less than a day, both Aspen and Juliet were able to find out something about myself that I couldn't in a lifetime.
I guess not.
I don't realize how it sounds after I've said it. Juliet shoots a look at me. Shoots a look at Aspen, who quickly tries to move the discussion along.
Anyway, I was trying to find out why Juliet and I can remember you when nobody else can. Although I didn't find anything about memories in particular, there was one story that claimed a Gumiho's curse doesn't take effect until a full day later.
Oh, of course. And since you and I both saw Miho again before too much time passed, we didn't forget her.
Right, that also makes sense from what you told us yesterday, Miho, doesn't it? You said you don't tend to talk to people a second time.
Yeah, I usually try to avoid it, really.
I've never thought my magic as a curse before, but I guess the person who's affecting it is.
So that means that all we have to do to avoid forgetting about Miho is...
It's impossible to miss the pause before Aspen's words, even like she's not confident in what she's saying about it, and what she's about to say.
see her every day. Forever.
Well, shit. Forever. That word hangs in the air. Aspen says it cheerfully, but I can recognize how impossible it is. At some point, even these two will forget me, won't they? Why even try then? Why bother if I know it'll just hurt in the end? On cue, those kind of thoughts start to swirl in my head, like always. I'm so tempted to just stop caring and give up on others. No, I won't let myself dwell on that. Not on my first day of living here. Who knows, even if it's a long time from now, maybe those thoughts will go away for good. Juliet clears her throat before the silence goes on for too long.
Well, that's not bad at all. Preserving the memory of those you hold dear is one of the most important parts of life.
Aspen considers for a moment before nodding.
It really is.
Seems a little early for either of them to consider me dear to them, but I keep that to myself.
So, anyway, about Jacques.
For relief, Aspen changes the subject away from me and my magic. As Juliet and Aspen chat between themselves, the conversation drifts into things I don't know about, and people and places I don't recognize. It's all probably related to books. I smile and laugh when they do, but I'm not really paying attention or talking. Let's see the two of them. They may as well be speaking a different language. The more I observe, the more it seems I'll have to learn. Not just about people and human life, but about myself as well, and even the world. And one day, both Aspen and Juliet were able to figure out what I am and how my beats work. I've had a long time to do that, and I still had no idea. Doesn't even seem like it was hard for them. It's something I have to admit to myself. I haven't really tried before. Just what have I been missing out on? I feel something bubbling up inside of me. Same feeling as yesterday, when I decided just to come back to the library instead of running away. Something that makes me clench my fist and take a deep breath as I make another decision. Something that I realize I can put a name to, even though it's a new one for me. This is what people call hope. Even if it's pointless in the end.
I want to learn how to be a person.
Juliet cuts off whatever she was saying mid-sentence. Both she and Aspen turned to me wide-eyed. Oops, I guess I should have started by waiting for them to stop talking.
You want to... what?
I already messed this up, but I keep going.
Be a person. To know about the things you two are talking about. All the stuff that you give me a weird look for when I don't know. I want to learn about it.
I'd say that you're already well on your way.
Her tone becomes quite serious as she continues. I'm a little glad she sees as much weight behind this as I feel about it.
Miho, there are some things that you can't rush or change overnight. This, starting, can be the hardest part. You've already taken the first steps.
What Juliet said. I'm sorry, too. I didn't mean to keep you out of our conversation.
No, it's okay. I was busy thinking anyway. I can't stop looking for my person, of course, but maybe I can do more than that too.
We'll help you in any ways that we can.
Aspen nods in agreement, but then checks the time and sighs.
It'll have to wait until later, though, because I need to be leaving for work. I'm sure Juliet needs her rest, too.
Thanks. I am rather tired. Will you be alright on your own for the day, Miho?
Yeah, I should be. I'll figure out something to do.
Wonderful. Here, let me take those.
She gets up and collects the dirty plates and carries them to the sink.
Tomorrow I have to go in earlier than usual to open. If you come by, I can make you that drink again, Miho. As long as you promise not to run away, that is.
Sure. Don't worry. I'm not going anywhere this time. Although... will it still be at home?
At home?
Like... free.
Oh, on the house! Yes, of course! This should probably be the last time, though, or my boss will start getting upset.
Aw, okay. It was nice while it lasted.
Oh, this cutie. Aspen pauses, she rises from the table and starts to leave.
You know, getting a job might be a good idea if you're serious about living a normal life. It's hardly the most fun, but then you could buy as many fairy kiss chillers as you want.
A job? Sounds like a pain.
Aspen just sighs as I sink into my seat. The way she talks about having a job makes it sound awful.
Well, it's just a suggestion. See you later, Juliet. Miho.
After Ashley takes her leave, as Juliet and I wave her off. After the distant sounds of Juliet shutting her bedroom door, the whole library is silent, leaving me alone with my thoughts in the kitchen. The front doors are unlocked and open to everyone, so it's just a matter of time until the first guests arrive.
Well... what do I do now?
The empty room doesn't have an answer. Right about now, I'd usually be scrounging for breakfast or skipping out a new place. Maybe even planning where I'll spend the rest of the night. Maybe even planning where I'll spend the night. With a full belly and a bed to come back to, I don't have to worry about any of that. Instead, I have a lot of free time on my hands.
Guess I'll explore.
So I've been spending a lot of my time recently anyway. And while Juliet and Aspen seem fine so far, it's still a little tiring to be around other people so much. Having my alone time is important too. Making my way into town, I try to pay more attention to what people are doing instead of searching for opportunities. I meant what I said about wanting to be more of a I meant what I said about wanting to be more of a person, but small steps are easier for me. And there's one thing I'm good at. If there's one thing I'm good at, it's observing. Of course, I'll be keeping an eye out for anything that can help me find my person, but I have to admit that I don't have much of a plan for that. Usually when I go to a new city or country, I'll try to find someone who might know them, or who recognizes my scroll. I usually prefer asking other fabled. They're easier to deal with than other humans. It's not a very efficient plan, if I'm being honest. I have to get really lucky for it to work, but I haven't come up with any better ideas, and I do have plenty of time to try. Now that Aspen and Juliet have offered to help, maybe they'll be able to think of something new. For now, I'm just killing time. At first, it's not so bad. I take my time passing through the city, and even popping into some stores along the way. One is full of musical instruments, while right next door is a store selling kitchen utensils. Across the street is another place with racks full of used clothes. I step into each store and pace around the aisles, just browsing. Usually I'd never come into these kind of shops, even though they have some expensive stuff. And it's all bulky and hard to carry. Plus I've learned the hard way that some pawn shops and buyers are good at guessing when something's stolen. Now that I'm paying more attention to what's for sale, I realize that I don't even know what a lot of this stuff does. In the kitchen store, there's normal pots and pans and dishes, which makes sense. There's also a bunch of different gadgets with all kind of shapes and sizes. Can't even guess what what you'd use some of them for. At the music store, I recognize a few instruments like guitars and pianos and drums. But also a bunch that I haven't seen before, but I don't know the names of. Most of the kind that you play with your mouth. Then there are some that I've never seen and can't even be sure are actual instruments, and not some other kind of device. I seem to be the only one having this problem. At both stores, the other customers I've seen all walk around like they know what they're doing, or at least are looking for something in particular. Try to listen in on their conversation that someone's having with a salesperson. It's just like listening to Aspen and Juliet talk. I don't recognize half the words. In the end, I didn't spend long at either store.
This is already harder than I thought.
Nearby is a clock outside one of the stores, and it informs me that it's only been an hour or so since I left the library. There's still a lot of time before Juliet will be up. I guess I'll keep looking around. I'm not expecting much. I continue to browse through most of the shops I pass, just for something to do. Think about going by the Bell House and saying hello to Aspen. When I get there, there's a line out the door and around the building. Peeking through the window, I don't even see her. Instead, someone else is taking orders at the counter. I don't feel like waiting, so I keep walking instead. I end up walking as far as I can. I end up walking for as long as I can, standard, past the Skyport and beach, past Mount Victoria, back towards town yet again. When it eventually gets too boring even for me, I head back to the library. It's much busier now than when I left. There's piles of books on the desk that people have brought back, and the checkout sheet is half full. Some of the chairs are occupied, and at least a dozen people are browsing the shelves. None of them pay me any mind, even when I grab a snack from the kitchen, then head out to my room. And there I do the only thing there is to do, flop on my bed and look up at the ceiling. Don't get me wrong, I'm glad to have a bed to do that in, but it doesn't help me much right now.
So I can be bored outside or bored inside.
Decisions. In my normal life, I'm usually too busy to be bored. Having time to rest and relax can be a luxury. Now I've got more time that I know what to do with. I haven't even realized that would be a problem.
Guess all I can do is wait for Juliet.
Hopefully she'll have some idea. Get a feeling she could give advice on anything.
May as well get comfy.
yawning to get under the covers, then transform into a fox. With a soft pillow under my head and a cozy blanket above me. It's a lot like being in a very comfortable den. And after all the walking I did, a nap does sound pretty nice. If I'm lucky, I won't wake until Juliet does. Wrapping my tail around my face, I close my eyes and eventually drift off to sleep. It's almost dark out when I finally open my eyes, just like this morning. It takes a second for me to remember where I am. I burrow my way out of the blankets, then retake my human form, rubbing the sleepiness from my eyes.
That nap worked better than I expected.
Hopefully Juliet will be awake by now. If she isn't, I don't know what I'll do. There's no way I'm falling back asleep anytime soon. Unlike this morning when I passed by Juliet's office, there's no light from under the door. I do catch a sound of something going on in the kitchen, so I make my way downstairs. In the kitchen, I'm treated to quite the sight.
Good evening, Miho. I'll be with you in just a moment.
It's not just Juliet in the kitchen, but 3 bats as well. One clinging to the top of the chair Aspen sat in this morning, and another on top of the fridge. The third one is perched on Juliet's shoulder, and I think it's the same one that was in her office this morning. Juliet's holding a small bag and handing out the contents to the different bats. On closer inspection, I realised that they're bugs. All the bats devour them greedily, including the one nibbling on Juliet's ear. So she doesn't seem too bothered and hands them each another treat.
Alright, here are the last ones.
The bats on the chair and fridge finish their snacks and fly over my head and out of the kitchen. Their wings nearly clip me in the face, and the gust they create blows my hair around. Last bat stays on Juliet's shoulder, even after it's finished eating. Then Juliet picks up a small envelope from the counter and ties it to one of the bat's legs.
Thank you, Orpheus. We'll see you soon.
Launching itself off of Juliet's shoulder, Orpheus takes flight and exits through one of the library windows. Even though he was much bigger than the other bats, it doesn't look like Juliet was fazed by being used as a launch pad.
My apologies, Miho. You caught me just at dinner time for the bats.
It's okay. I just woke up.
Oh? I take it you had a busy day then?
Well, not really. Just walked around for a while and then took a nap because didn't know what else to do.
I see. I'm sorry to have left you on your own all day. I should have made sure you were taken care of before I went to sleep.
She sure does apologize a lot. Is that what it means to be polite? It makes me kind of uncomfortable. It's not like she did anything wrong.
What are some of your hobbies? There are all manner of things tucked away in this room, all that throughout the library.
Hobbies? I don't think I know that word.
Something you do for fun, just because you enjoy it.
Oh!
I swear to God, Miho, if you say stealing.
I don't really have anything like that.
As she raises her eyebrow, Juliet nods. I'm guessing that wasn't an answer she was expecting.
I think I understand. Well, perhaps that should be our first order of business. I believe you'd find your life much enriched with something amusing to do.
Okay. Like what?
She ponders for a moment, tapping the countertop beside her.
It could be anything. A sport, an art, or even something like watching television. Whatever brings you joy.
Television.
Pretty sure I've never tried any of those.
Then, it seems we have plenty of options to start with. I know you've done a lot of walking today already, but I need to go into town to run some errands. Would you be interested in accompanying me? Maybe we'll see something along the way that strikes your fancy.
Sure. Fine by me. Not like I've got anything better to do.
With a smile, Juliet gathers up some more papers and envelopes from the table and tucks them under her arm. Trim down the music a wee bit. There we go, that's a bit better.
Let's be off then.
Leaving the library unlocked, we set off down the familiar path. Juliet maintains a brisk pace, but isn't too fast. Like I like this a lot more than it's going slow.
So, Miho, how are you enjoying Wellington itself so far?
I like it. It's not too big and it's not too small. Like that there's the ocean and mountains close by.
Yes, we're truly fortunate to live in such a paradise.
How'd you end up here in the first place? You said you came from the underworld, right?
That's correct. Ugh, I was much wilder and irresponsible in those days. But then, I met someone who changed my life. Someone who made me want to be a better person.
Was it Aspen?
And part of that meant reinventing myself, with a new life in a new place. Rather like what you've been doing too.
Huh. I can't picture you being crazy like you said.
That's something of a relief, but it was certainly true at the time. Sometimes, it does feel as if I was an entirely different person back then. It can be difficult to reconcile who we were with who we are, or want to be.
Doesn't seem like you had too much trouble with it.
I wouldn't say that. For one, this was very long ago. And even now, I continue to change. Everyone does. Perhaps in a few hundred years, I'll look back on these days, and they'll also seem like someone else's life.
Maybe.
Not that I think Juliet's lying, but it seems to me like she's being modest. I may not have known her for very long, but if anything, she seems a little too perfect. It isn't too late in the evening yet, so there are plenty of other people out and about too. Occasionally someone will recognize and greet Juliet, and she always gives them a friendly greeting in return. After walking in silence for a couple of minutes, I clear my throat.
I've got a question.
What is it?
Do you always walk places?
As opposed to?
Flying. Can't you turn into a bat?
Oh, yes. I suppose I can. I do so only sparingly, though. I find that I appreciate life more as a human than as a bat.
Why? That's weird. Like being a fox a lot more. Being a human just feels clumsy. Your arms and legs are way too long and get in the way all the time.
I suppose that's true. It can be quite awkward at times. Or even embarrassing.
Yeah, exactly! I've never been embarrassed as a fox.
I understand. There are certainly downsides. I believe the good makes up for the bad, though. Some things are only possible as a human, or fabled.
Like what? I can't think of any, other than talking like this.
Like writing, for one thing, as our dear friend Aspen would surely mention. Or perhaps like dancing. Have you ever danced, Miho?
Nope, never. I don't get why people do it either. Don't tell me you like dancing. Is that your hobby?
I must confess that I do enjoy it. At times, that is. I wouldn't call it a hobby. But with the right person, at the right moment, it can be quite nice.
Shit, come on, just when I was trying to make up my mind. You're killing me here.
If you say so.
I find myself saying that a lot lately. Shaking and fluffing your body around to music, that's not for me. I don't even know how they came up with this stuff. But I'm trying to remember to be polite, so I keep that part to myself.
So, on that note, I should have asked this earlier. Are there any hobbies that you have as a fox?
I never thought about it that way. Now that you mention it... Almost everything is better as a fox. The sun feels nicer on my fur than it does on my skin. Flowers smell better and more interesting when I sniff them. It's more... vivid.
She's so cute. I remember Aspen using that word, and explaining what it means. I bet she'd be proud of me if she heard me use it.
You do make it sound lovely. But are those things you do for fun?
Well,
I almost say yes right away. Then I think about it for a second. I do love those things I mentioned, but maybe they don't fit what Juliet is asking.
I guess not. They feel good, but they're not fun.
That's still valuable too.
So far, I've been following the same path that I took earlier when I went into town. When we've come to a crossroads, Juliet turns the direction of a neighborhood instead of the city.
The first stop I need to make is down here. After that, we'll go look around and see if there's anything fun.
Alright, I'm just following you.
This isn't the same neighborhood where I hid from Juliet a couple of nights ago, although it's pretty similar. Some of these houses are the sort that remind me of Bugs when I first arrived in Wellington. We stop at one of them, a little one-story house with a porch light on. Follow Juliet to the front door and she rings the doorbell.
Is this for one of your errands?
Yes, we're delivering those papers that were requested.
She straightens out the 2 yellow packets that she's carrying. The door opens and a young woman carrying a baby stands behind it.
Oh, Miss Juliet! So good to see you!
With one of her trademark smiles, Juliet hands over the papers and let you chat for a bit. I lean against the wall, not involved or listening. While talking to the lady, Juliet uses the same warm tone and softness as when talking to me and Aspen. In fact, if I close my eyes, I can always pretend that I'm back at the breakfast table with both of them, listening to them go on about books. Eventually, the woman takes the folder. After saying goodbye several times, we leave. As soon as we're off her property, I turn to Juliet.
What was that all about?
I suppose you could call it another one of my hobbies. Sometimes, patrons have requests for information on their ancestors, or a piece of history that they'd like to learn about. For example, Mrs. Aliyu wanted to know about her husband's culture so she could teach her new child. I find and collect what's requested, and bring it to those who asked.
Whoa! Sounds like a lot of work.
It does.
It can be, but I don't mind it. The past is worth preserving, but not everyone knows how. It's my honor to help people do so. I have assistants too, such as dear Orpheus, who is delivering a letter on the far side of town for me.
Are all the bats your helpers?
Some more than others. They're friends, not pets. And so if they don't feel like helping, then I won't force them.
To me, it sounds like a lot of trouble to go through for someone else, even if the bat's helping out. But Juliet likes being Juliet apparently likes being inconvenienced. It's the same as letting me stay in her library. So that sounds like it could be really helpful on my own search for the traveler. As Juliet leads us to the next destination, we leave the residential area and go back towards the city. Try to keep my eyes peeled for anything interesting. There are plenty of people sitting out at tables having a meal or walking around the shops, but nothing out of the ordinary. In fact, it's not much different from when I was here earlier. There are more fabled and fewer humans, but there are still plenty of those too. Some of the places I passed are closed now, but some, like the music store, are still open. We come to a big building with a lot of posters on the wall outside. We stop.
This is one of our movie theaters. They show all the most popular films, as well as independent ones from local creators. Have you ever been to see a movie before?
Not in a place like this. I know what movies are, but I don't think I've ever watched one.
You should try it sometime. Maybe you'll find you like them. Movies can make you feel all kinds of different things. Happy, sad, scared, or just amused. Some are good for making you think, and some are good because you don't have to think about anything and can just relax.
Why would I want to watch something that makes me sad or scares me?
Good fucking question.
For some, it's fun to explore different emotions in a safe environment like that. When we see something that makes us feel strongly, it can stick with you. Perhaps cause you to view things in a different light.
That's deep.
And if it ever becomes too much, You can simply stop watching or put on something else.
I'll try it sometime. Although, I don't know about the sad or scary ones.
There's nothing wrong with that. Everyone has different preferences.
Along the way, Juliet continues to point out different shops and locations that she thinks I should know about, like another library or museum. I'm not very interested in either of those things, but I smile and nod and pretend like I am. After a while, we leave the city behind and reach the waterfront, just like I usually do. The ocean looks much different at night, with the starlight reflecting and moonlight reflecting off the water. Far out at sea, there are a few lights that must come from boats and sometimes lights in the sky from passing airships. How is there an ocean on this floating island? I head down a small path to the boardwalk, where we look out onto the water. There are a few empty buckets sitting on the ground nearby, as well as some folding chairs, and I point them out.
What are those for?
People like to fish off at this pier. They come at all hours, but I believe this spot is used for teaching lessons during the day.
Ooh, lessons on how to catch fish?
That's correct. Is that something you're interested in?
Maybe. It's one of those things that I like doing as a fox, but I don't know if I'd like doing it the human way.
Should you decide you'd like to try, I'm sure there would be someone here who's happy to instruct you.
Yeah, maybe.
I don't want to commit to anything, but it couldn't hurt to come check this place out during the day.
I'm glad you found something that struck your fancy. Is there anywhere else you'd like to visit while we're out? Or should we return home?
Nah, I'm ready to head back. Is there anything for dinner?
I'm sure we can put something together.
Then let's go.
Since they actually know where we are, I lead the way home with Juliet close behind me. Alright. I shall save us here. I'll probably return to this. I can't promise tomorrow, I'm very busy tomorrow. And I'm busy the next... maybe like Friday. Probably Friday. I'm quite busy the next few days. So yeah, probably Friday. So I'll see ya. Bye.